All right, I think you're ready for some advanced teachings here. Probably things you already know, but I'm going to maybe reconfirm how amazing you are and what's going on out there. We've got signs, big ones, but what are they? I'm going to explain it in a way that might be a little mind-blowing for you. Maybe it's going to expand you into a space of thinking that you haven't gone into. You ready to go there with me? Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. You know, we could put on our seatbelts because we got some big changes coming. We're a family. We're here experiencing something that we're actually creating ourselves. So anything that happens in our future, we're doing it. Everything is one thing. It is all one thing happening. There's no such a thing as time. Everything that exists, can exist, will exist, is all one energy field happening within it. It appears to be separate so that we can experience what it's like to be an individual. We get the trials and tribulations, and without challenges, there's no real experience here, right? Without fear, we don't get the thrill. We've let fear go past the thrill into a very negative space. We're changing that. So I want to talk about signs. I want to talk about what's happening, what you've been picking up on, what we always have known, but we sort of separate it from ourselves. We're done with separation. Now, if you're with me on this, you could see your world completely different and go into a space of that quantum field that already exists. That higher self that you are, it's right here. It always has been. We have veils pulled over so that we can play out density. And now we're removing the veils, and what we are always was here. The jewels in your tattered robes, you just have to dig deep into the pockets. They're there, always have been. And so we got to experience what is it like to not know that and to walk around in tattered robes only to find out that we are all kings and queens and, well, actually just royalty. There's no sex or division in the world beyond because we are one light of all things and the illusion of its contrast. Now, let's talk about signs. Because everything is one thing. Everything is one thing. The energy field that you are is flowing through everything. It cannot be created nor destroyed. It always has existed. You are indestructible. The illusion that you see, it transforms. It is no different than birth. Birth and death are equal. We don't like the fact that death is the end of that journey, because we have an attachment to the material world. When you go and break through fear, you end the attachment. You observe it, and you appreciate it for what it is, and then you start to make different choices, higher ones, and you still get to be a human, an individual human, and enjoy that without allowing it to cause pain and fear and all of the negative feelings to you. You realize that you're the one doing it. What are signs? They are the communication of the same energy field that you are. It's always communicating with you. It's like your finger and your nose and your ear are on one body. They look very different. They have different functions. But if something's wrong with one of them, or your toe tickles or whatever it is a part of the whole body that is being communicated with. It is communicating with you. Everything, without exception, is always communicating. At all times, you are, your thoughts are. When you think, based on your beliefs, and your actions, of course, are prompted by that, you are communicating. You are sending out the directives and the messages of what you believe and think, right? Therefore, you create from there. Things are created because of your directive into the quantum field. Be careful with that. What happens to everything else? It is equally intelligent. There's nothing that's dumber than us or higher than us. There are things that are denser, and we are pretty much the densest in our own universe. Anything more dense, it's blown itself up, right? And we've learned from that, hopefully. We're changing things now. Get ready for this. Because everything, and I want you to think about this, NASA sending, a Falcon rocket just got fired off into space to study dark matter, right? Dark matter, what is that? Dark energy, dark matter? It's not dark at all. It is just intelligence creating. Our universe is expanding, accelerating. They want to study and find out why. I know why. The higher frequency we go on, the more we go into expansion, and it speeds up. Density is slow, right? It's like a big old rock. We're like walking around in these 10-ton suits. But when we go into expansion and higher frequency, our energy field becomes conscious beyond the body. When we go out here, we raise the frequency, the matrix game changes, we go into what can be a golden era, the Great Awakening, heaven on earth, the new earth, call it what you want. It's just a frequency of the matrix program that we agreed to play in. Matrix is not a punishment or a negative thing. It has been because we projected into that. We directed it. We created it through our thoughts and our actions. Now that we're going into consciousness, we came here unconscious. That's the game, to come here as unconscious beings. We're going back into consciousness, and we're realizing that energy field is everything that you see and do not see. That dark matter is all intelligence. It is creating just like we do. You don't have to be a material item or entity to create. Everything's always creating. Everything's in expansion mode. That's why it's accelerating, because we're getting more advanced. Now, because everything's one thing and it's all intelligent and always creating, that means it's always communicating. You're sleeping, you're communicating. Your dreams, they're very telling. Those are communicating with you. The intelligent field is communicating. Watch what those are. They're usually, one of two things or both at the same time. A reflection of your thoughts and feelings, and the quantum field that you're connecting to that gets to visit you, share information with you. And that's all happening at one time, okay? Everything's always happening at one time. Now, everything's communicating with you. The planets aren't just going around and they affect us energetically. It is intelligent communication that is operating in its own illusion and always in communication with us. It doesn't just sit out there. We are feeding off of everything and entangled with it. That's why everything affects us energetically, not just planets or the moon or whatever it is because of gravity. It's way past that. Now, everything that's moving around, animate, inanimate objects, all intelligent, all is communicating with us at all times. Not the way you think, maybe like a brain. It doesn't have feelings like we do. We have something different built in. We're just a different form that allows us feelings and free will. Those plants out there, those palm trees sitting out there, are always communicating. They communicate with one another. They've done studies on this. If you chop down a tree here, a tree 10 miles down is going to have a reaction to it. It is communicating at all times. This is not distance or time. It's immediate because we are one thing. It doesn't get sent here and then it shows up here. It's instantaneously. They've done this with protons. They split them and they react as if this one and this one had never been separated. Everything's operating that way. Now, when you see these signs, nothing's a coincidence. You'll see numbers. You will have things show up. People will say things. Things show up in your life that are opportunities. Maybe some things happen to you because you've been in fear. This is why we want to break through it. If you go into fear, you're projecting into it and you're communicating. And the quantum field communicates back. It's always reacting. Be sure to check out my book, Break Through Fear, Your Spiritual Butt Kick, on Amazon. It will blow your mind. It talks about exactly how all of this works. You can find that link in the description. With you, not to you, okay? So you're creating through it. It's not getting a directive and then sending it back. It's a directive that you are doing because you are that. You can't hide from it because it is you. That's the mind, the one mind that we all share. Is this, you catching on to this? Like, are you keeping up with me here? It's a little out there for some of you. And others, you're going to go, yeah, I get this. You know, we have to expand ourselves, right, into that field where we realize we are powerful beyond our imagination and how wonderful we can use it as human beings and take it in a positive direction. High frequency is number one. Every reaction, every response you are responsible for, and you must be on your game because it is communicating with the multiverses because it's not separate. You are affecting everything with that one thought that you're having right now. You are changing your whole reality with it. Everything around you that's a coincidence or a sign, it is absolutely connected to you, talking to you. It's talking to you just like we do as humans talk to one another. Even though we're one, we still get to act as individuals with our different opinions and whatever. Same thing with a tree and a bush and a bird. You know, they appear to be different, but they're one energy field, and they are all connected. Those butterflies that show up, around you, they're not a coincidence. They're communicating with you. So watch that because what you're putting out is going to project out there into a communication line of something that's getting that information, right? So you go on a frequency and you're, like I said, you're dialed into classical music. You're going to hear classical music, all right? You dial into rock and roll, you're not going to hear classical music. So it's always talking. Everything's talking to you at all times. It's communicating with you because you and it are one. All these signs are absolutely this quantum field, this supposed dark energy in this dark space. It is not space. It is intelligence. And it's always in high-level operation, and it's so subtle, nothing gets past it because it's you giving directives in the mind. Your thought, it's the quantum field. It's not my thought and then it goes out. Your thought is the quantum mind. Watch the signs you're going to see. If you go into this space with me, if you go into this space where you're watching and observing, you catch the negative thoughts, the separation, the judgment, all that stuff, and you step away from that separation that keeps you in a low density. If you go into high frequency, you put service to others, unity, community, no more arguing, no more separation, no blame, no more blame. You have love and respect and compassion for everyone. I'm not saying tolerance. We have zero tolerance. We're creating a new world here. But we're doing it peacefully, and we are the meek. Now, here's what's going to happen. If you go into that high frequency, you will tap in. You're clearing out the veils. You're removing the veils of the self-limiting, stories and all that stuff. There's nothing in the way of you and your whole field. You've never lost touch. But now, you and it have a clear path of communication. You will start to see signs that will blow your mind. All right, so I was thinking about Mind Valley and Christina Lacchiani, one of the co-founders who was married to Vishen, one of the co-founders of Mind Valley. Her PR person contacted me and said, we'd love for you to interview her. Her book's coming out. She just invited me to a VIP party in Los Angeles next week. These are things I couldn't make up. But my communication to the quantum field is I would love to collaborate with other people in the spiritual community and meet more powerhouses that can help me get my word out there. And I also want to be the conduit for their voices. This is when community comes together. And how do we do this? Well, you could, desire something and go after things and, try and push it with the ego and make it happen. I want this to happen. Or you could just say, I'm going to communicate in the field. I'm going to communicate without an agenda or a timeline. And I know that the right people, the right situations, circumstances, and opportunities are always going to come to me, but you got to step out of the way. Get out of the way. The ego dictates. It has to have things its way. It wants things. When you can let that go, you can go into a field of all probabilities and you can perform literally miracles. That's what miracles are. There's just nothing between you and that thing that could possibly happen, right? The probability is there. Nothing's stopping it. And so it arrives exactly the way it should. And so these are the things that you can start doing right now, because everything is communicating with you, for you, as you. And so when you place this communication out, that means you look at that tree and you focus on it. You can actually literally, I do this is amazing. The most amazing feeling, I know some of you have done this, that energy field hits me. Sometimes it's so powerful in waves. It is aware of me and I'm aware of it. And I don't have to have thoughts. I just have to communicate with it, with my observation, and knowing that it is intelligent, and having nothing but love, and doing that with absolutely everything. Your world will transform. Are you ready for this new world? The signs, watch them. You're doing it. That is your sign that you are in what I call the zone. All right? We're going to talk more about this. I hope that you will subscribe. You can ring the bell and it'll let you know when the next video is coming out. And these, of course, are free videos. Let's talk more about how you can use this power if you come over, of a free masterclass and a free mobile app. What am I manifesting? It reminds you and gets you out of that thinking of negativity. Those are the obstructions that we're ready to take down those veils and go into this intelligent, communicating, all creative, expansive field that doesn't judge, by the way. There's no judgment in it, just love. You ready for that? You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.